570, the NBA Finals. Why are you not watching? Let's
Matt's
go to Dave
so pissed right now.
in Oakland. He's homesick. Dave in Oakland, what's going on?
His kid graduated from 3rd grade.
We'll get into that. Dave.
Good job finger painting.
Why are you not watching the finals, Dave? What's going on?
Oh, I'm not watching the finals because Luka and guys like Harden and Draymond to some degree, they argue about everything. They argue about the score. They argue about the calls, and they just suck the life out of the game. And you just want to not watch it and go home.
Yeah, is there any star that you're watching now in these finals that make you want to tune in, or is it as simple as there isn't anybody that you want to actually dial into?
I would love to dial into Luka, but he's just so annoying. He's got a punchable reaction to every call.
Yeah, and he pushes off everybody, and then he shoots and never gets an offensive foul. I don't know. He's great, but I don't know that he's a winning player. Maybe that's something that this experience in the NBA Finals will teach him. Just like when Jordan first got there, and he didn't really know, and when Kobe first got there, he didn't really know, and then they became team guys. But right now, Luka's all about himself, or he wouldn't have committed those fouls or even taken chances when he had 5 fouls. Like, that was just common sense, right? You got 5 fouls. Why are you going to take a chance on maybe it's a block, maybe it's a charge? Like, you just stay away from that period at that point and play smart.
Yeah, Dave.
I agree.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I appreciate the phone call. I do think that is a big part of it, the Luka factor. And you mentioned Michael Jordan, and if you go back to his career, FP, in his first, second, and third seasons in the association,
didn't make the playoffs.
He did not win a series.
Yeah.
I think he made the playoffs. Yeah, he made the playoffs all 3 years.
I was just guessing too quick.
Out in 4, and then swept, That was back when you did a best of 5 in the first round.
Yeah.
So in his first 3 years, he was 1-9 in the postseason, and then he won a series, won a couple series. It wasn't, though, until year 7 that he won a title, and of course the rest is Michael Jordan, greatest of all time, if you think so, history. So Luka Doncic, to that level, is ahead of where Jordan was. He's already won series. Now he's gotten to the NBA Finals earlier in his career, but something I want to play for you from Brian Windhorst. Last night in the postgame, he eviscerated. He absolutely destroyed Luka Doncic over a lot of the things that we're talking about. Just take a listen.
I thought it was perfect that Luka fell onto the ground there in an unacceptable position to put himself in with 4 minutes left with 5 fouls, and then immediately looks at the bench and says, "You better bleeping challenge it," as if it's the bench's fault that he just made a terrible play. I'm standing here in the Mavericks tunnel. Over there is the Celtics tunnel. That's where the winners are. If Luka's ever going to be a winner coming out of this tunnel here, he is going to have to use what's happened in this finals as a learning experience. His defensive performance is unacceptable. He is a hole on the court. The Celtics are attacking him. They are ahead in this series because they have attacked him defensively. And you've got a situation here where Luka is complaining about the officiating. They have begged him. They have talked with him. They have pleaded with him. He is costing his team because of how he treats the officials. He's a brilliant player. He does so many things well. They are here because of how he did. His performance in this game is unacceptable, and the reason why the Mavericks are not going to win. He's got to get over this. And the fact that he came out after the game and blamed the officials showed me he's nowhere close yet. So maybe over the summer, somebody will get to him, because nobody with the Mavericks or anybody else in his life has. And that's where the Mavericks are at this point. They're never going to get to this tunnel with the trophy if he doesn't improve those aspects of his game.
Brian Windhorst on SportsCenter with SVP.
Who's Brian Windhorst?
Brian Windhorst
should I know this?
You should. Actually, you really should. He came of age covering LeBron James in high school.
Oh.
And so he basically has made his career, I don't want to say on the back of LeBron James, but he has been covering LeBron James since high school. So as LeBron came up, Brian Windhorst started to follow LeBron, cover LeBron, and he's now ascended to ESPN. And if you have ever watched ESPN, you would know Brian Windhorst. You've seen him. He is a guy who reports on the NBA, and he was there at the game after Game 3 in Dallas, and I think that his commentary is one that many people would speak to, and that's exactly what I saw.
I know who he is. Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. Okay. Well, very, very, very strong opinions, and I don't think he's wrong in what he said.
And he's not always known for strong opinions. He's more known.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
He was mad at Luka last night.
I don't know if he was mad at him, but
mad at
I
Luka.
do think
he had
that
money on the Mavericks last night, and Luka let him down.
Mavericks laying a point and a half.
There was
in that
emotion involved in that. That wasn't just I'm reporting from the Mavericks tunnel, and the winners are here, the losers are over there.
I
He's
love
a
the
loser.
commentary. I thought the commentary was on the mark
side until he figures it out. I'll say this:
you'd be well served to spend 1 minute and 10 on our show and be so pointed.
Yeah,
you won't.
What? I'm like, why? I sit here and the guy. Well, I'm not going to say. I got to be quiet.
No, I know where you're going.
Yeah, but
that
anyway,
was a little mean spirited.
That was a little mean spirited.
You didn't even have to
you
say
can read my mind now.
I can read your mind.
Great players make others around them better. Great players make others around them better.
Say it one more time.
Great broadcasters make whoever their partner is better.
You're
Great
welcome.
coaches make their players better. Luka doesn't make anyone around him better. I mean, he's a good passer. But like at times it's me against 5 guys. But then I'm not going to play defense. They played defense for the first time in the series on their 20-2 run. They had all the momentum. And then for some reason, Jason Kidd said, timeout, we're doing too good. And we're going to take all the momentum away. And then there was a foul that was challenged. And then that took their momentum away. And then there was something else that happened. And that took the end of it was the fourth quarter all this happened. It's just they had the Celtics on the ropes. The Celtics were reeling. The Celtics got a standing 8 count, and then they had the whole between rounds and then another between rounds to right themselves and get their legs back underneath them and go like, wait a minute. That timeout by Jason Kidd, I watched ESPN all day today. I didn't hear anybody talk about it. And so maybe I'm wrong here, and I'm okay if I am wrong, but I know what he was doing.
Might have been the mandatory with 5.5 to go.
He took a timeout. Luka was
You
pissed.
saw him go hand to hand.
He was pissed, and they said, Jason Kidd's taking a timeout here. And Luka threw the ball down, scratched his head like, what the F are we doing? And he was mad.
And then after that, Luka comes out, misses a 3, commits a foul, commits another foul.
But they just weren't playing with the same intensity. It's just they lost all their. It just looked like they were flat all of a sudden when they had it all.
It was a 20-2 run. They were down 91-70, and then when Jason Kidd took time out, it was 93-90. So they had gotten all the way back into the ball game. Kyrie hit 3 free throws after a foul, and Luka Doncic with a steal. They had a chance to tie the game. They missed, and then they got the ball back off a rebound, and that's when Jason Kidd called timeout. I don't think that's why Luka would go on to commit 2 fouls and miss a 3 after the timeout.
Tim Legler is saying this right here. I just Googled Jason Kidd called the craziest timeout ever. So they are talking about it.
Yeah, there you have it.
But where was your guy in the tunnel yelling at Jason Kidd that he's in the loser's locker room because he took a timeout?
Well, he was yelling at Luka Doncic.
Your buddy over there from ESPN.
Who's my buddy?
The Brian Windhorsey.
Look at you, Windhorsey.
Runs with like the wind horse.
Philmo Mike's in San Francisco. Philmo, would you straighten my partner out? What's going on, Philmo?
Horsewind.
All right, what's up, Dibs? Forever Pimpin' Santangelo.
Forever Pimpin' at your service.
Hey, but you know what? Jason Kidd should have took that timeout because that sequence, I understand they were on a run, but the sequence prior to that, like the last 2-3 times up and down the court, they wasn't getting good shots. And I think like Luka had like fell over. He was trying to get the ball. He ran into Jaylen Brown. Some craziness happened. But I think the main reason they not people not watching it, that break, that hiatus, you can't do no 8, 9, 10-day hiatus on some teams that people really don't care about. You gotta remember, Boston, like, that's cool for people in Boston, but most of America don't rock with Boston. For various reasons, and we all know why, but most of America don't rock with Boston. And I've never, now I got family near Dallas, Child Paris, Texas, but Dallas is a boring city too. They could call us boring, but I've never found anything about the Dallas Mavericks appealing. And so I think it's just the teams. Now, I did want to see how Kyrie was going to perform. He hasn't hit my expectation. I wanted to see how he was going to react to in Dallas. And last but not least, you can't go into the NBA Finals. It's supposed to be competitive. The first game is a blowout. I don't care if they came back within 8 points. It still was a blowout. The optics be bad. We got to get more competitive on the NBA level. And I just think that
without LeBron in that Steph match, because that was tantalizing. When you had LeBron, you had Steph, you had the boy wonder, you had the boy that was supposed to be the guy, light skin, dark skin. You feel me? Dan Dibley, FP. Damn, man, y'all have a great show.
I'm feeling you, dog. I'm feeling you, dog.
Thank you, Phil Mo. Appreciate the call, as always.
I like him.
Yeah, he's always great.
He gave me Forever Pimpin' nickname, and I love it.
That's pretty strong.
That is strong.
It's pretty strong.
Pretty
and you
accurate,
are forever
too.
pimping.
Pretty accurate.
I mean, you're still pimping even at your late age.
Late age?
You're one of the few guys around here older than me.
Get
so
my age out of your
that.
mouth.
You are forever.
the young people.
Seriously, and by that you mean me, Grandy. I'm the youngest guy up in this piece. I do think that he makes an interesting point about not only Boston, but also Dallas. Like, the casual fan is probably not going to want to rock with Dallas. But I think for me, it comes down to, in large part, the Luka Doncic factor, because he's not a very likable superstar.
I don't know if he's likable or not, but what he did last night was selfish. He didn't help his team. And he hurt his team. And if you get to 4 fouls, you have to be smart enough to even though it's the finals on the biggest stage and there's a lot of emotion involved, to know that your value to the team is not showing the refs you're right and getting in the mix for fouls 5 and 6. It's being smart and staying away from contact so that you can help your team. When he came out of the game, Kyrie's like, I'm doing this by myself. It's 1-on-5 and I'm shooting, I'm forcing, I'm going to the I think he passed once in like 4 or 5 trips down. It was just, I'm beating 5 guys by myself. And it was from a good place. He wanted to win. And he's like, I'm going to show I can pick up the slack right now, but it just doesn't work that way. They're not a team.
15 assists
They're not
for the team. And to your point, they had 15 assists on the night as a team. Your point guard, Kyrie Irving, 2 assists in 45 minutes.
That's because of Luka. Everyone was watching Luka at first, and then everyone was trying to pick up for him, especially Kyrie, once he fouled out.
Right, and once he fouled out, you mentioned it, Kyrie started to take things on his own shoulders, and he wound up with just the 2 assists on 45 minutes of playtime. The other thing that you mentioned, or Steiny mentioned in the crossover, is the 3-point shot. It might have been Steiny talking about the 3-point shot and what that has done to the overall product. Boston shot 46 threes on the night. 46 3-point shots.
How many did they make?
17.
Yeah.
Which is not a great percentage.
They were terrible for a while.
They were hot in the third quarter.
Yeah.
But the greater point for me is that the league has become largely a 3-point contest. They had 46 threes. They had 36 twos on the night. So the NBA game now has become penetrate and dish, pass
around the horn.
Yeah. Anything other than, let's try to get the best kind of closest shot to the basket.
Dude, with the Showtime Lakers, I know it's blasphemous to say in Northern California, but when Magic was running the break and it was a fast break basketball and it was like playground ball, and that's what we used to emulate when we were kids, and I used to like watch Magic's passes in slow motion, then go out with my buddies and try to look this way, go back that way. And there was nothing like the Showtime Lakers and the fast break. Like, that was entertainment to me. And the Warriors, with the way they went about it with their championships in a different era and Steph reinventing the game, maybe this is all Steph's fault. All these 3-pointers, all Steph's fault. Let's blame it on Steph.
I mean, he gets credit, but
he reinvented the game. But
he did.
But ... I'm with the risk of sounding old, I like fast break basketball. I miss that. I miss up and down the court with behind the back passes, and then maybe you fake a pass and take it yourself, or an alley-oop for a dunk. And I know that's still there. You just don't see it as much.
Yeah, what I miss is not necessarily just the fast break basketball, but it's a variety of basketball, because now, by and large, you've got teams that are relying on the 3 because 3 is greater than 2. And now if you shoot a ton of threes, you realize that even if you make 17 threes, what did I say, 17 for 46 is what they were for the night. That's better than going, they went 21 for 36 from 2. And they went 17 for 46 from 3. So the 3-point output, they had 51 points, and the 2-point output, they had 42 points. So it makes more sense to shoot the 3 because you're going to make enough threes to where it becomes the best possible strategy.
Their 2s were easy, though, because they're playing defense, man. So Pritchard was playing defense. I mean, they just played lockdown defense, and Dallas doesn't. Dallas tries. They did in that 22 run because everyone was chanting defense. Did you hear how intense the defense?
In Dallas.
Defense. Yeah. I never understood that when I go to an NBA game. Like, oh my God, the organ's playing and they're chanting defense, so I better cover my guy all of a sudden. Thanks, you guys. That's really cool that you're all saying that. But then when they picked it up and they were really chanting that was intense last night. That was fun. I was rooting for Dallas. I was like, come on, let's go. A good comeback. Let's go. And then timeout. Wait, what? Huh? Wait.
You're too focused on this timeout.
Maybe I don't know crap about basketball, but when you have a run going, you got the other team on the ropes, they're wobbled, they're on the edge of the cliff, we're about ready to push them off and win this thing. You know, like the Price is Right with the cliffhanger. Remember that one?
Yeah.
They were just right at the end of that thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to take a timeout and just crush all of them. I know why he did it. They looked gassed maybe in his mind, and nobody knows their players better than the head coach. But I just thought it was weird and not good.
Well, and not good because your star player couldn't handle it. Your star player came out, missed a 3, committed 2 fouls, and got his sweatsuit on. So if it is something that cost your own star his ability to play basketball, then go ahead and blame the coach. I blame the star who pouted, threw a tantrum, came out, bricked a 3, committed 2 fouls, had another tantrum, and his night was over. So if that's on Jason Kidd, well, then Luka Doncic is pretty mentally weak. 888-957-9570. Nick Friedel from ESPN. If you don't know who that is, Google it while I take this phone call from Jason in San Francisco. What's up, Jason? How you feeling about the finals?
Good, man. Good. I've actually really enjoyed this finals. I thought I'd throw out my perspective, and you can either knock it or maybe tell me there's some merit there.
All right, go ahead. I can't determine it until you have your take.
Fire away.
More than fair. So, I mean, the Celtics, and you kind of just talk about it, they have great depth. They're a great team. They're essential the last couple of years. I mean, they're just a great basketball team. And what they've done with Holiday, who's been lights out defensively, and the Porzingis trade was probably worth game 1 alone. You know, even that play again this series, what he did in game 1 is huge. And then the Mavs are really interesting to me because there's only a couple of years ago where their bigs were Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber. And to go get Gafford, to get a rookie and Lively, and be able to match up with the Timberwolves previous round, and they could probably match up against the Nuggets as well with that kind of diversity there. I think that's really impressive. And then Kyrie, man, I mean, best ball handler in the game. Can't stop watching him. And I think Luka not being likable.
What's Kyrie done? What's Kyrie done in the finals? He did nothing in Boston. You can't stop watching him. What's he done?
I'll watch him drive to the court every possession I can, and I thought he had a good game yesterday.
He did have a good game last night until he started forcing it at the end. You're right.
No, but I agree with you, too. I mean, lackluster in Boston, no doubt about it, especially after the drama there. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this again because, I mean, Lively's only a rookie if he can develop his game. Gafford's a nice mix-up, too, and they got to find another three-point shooter other than P.J. Washington. So if the Mavs can kind of balance it out, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this again with a more balanced Mavs teams in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Appreciate the phone call. I don't know if they're going to get much of a future here with Game 4 coming up tomorrow in Dallas.
Cliffhanger or Plinko? Best Price is Right game ever.
I would go with the rangefinder myself.
Oh, the rangefinder's a good call.
You go up on the refrigerator and you have to pick the range and see what you can nail. Although the cliffhanger with the Yodelay Hee-Hoo. And Mark always loves hole in one.
That's a good one.
Or 2.
I like hole in one.
Could you get that second choice?
Yes, I like hole in one.
Second chance, rather. Bob Barker. That's very good.